Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So working some more on the peacock's wing. You can see it's in the orangey brown bits here. And again, the colors, because of the way the peacock's standing, all the colors are going that way. So yeah, I am following that with my stitching. All right, so I'm just gonna get started here. So as usual, still trying to not close in on all four sides. Sometimes it ends up closed in on three, but I'm just sort of growing out from the established edge there. And finally, we are having a lovely sunny day. Yeah, I mean, we needed that rain, but it was definitely gloomy. So, yes, big news. The search for a vehicle is over. Yeah, we finally found something. It's a 9-year-old Jeep Renegade, and it's a manual, which kiddo wanted. We were telling him he might have to settle for an automatic because, yeah, depending on what's available, right? But when you're buying used, you get what you get. But yeah, we actually did manage to find one. It was tougher than we thought because only, like they said, I Googled it, I was curious, and in Canada, less than 20% of drivers can drive a stick, and nobody wants to buy them new, which I understand. I mean, new vehicles are so expensive and they lose their value so quickly, right? But apparently the used ones, yeah, they get snapped up very quickly, which we discovered. My husband would see a listing online and he'd call them, and it had been listed maybe the day before, and you know, by the time he called, oh, sorry, it's already sold. Yeah, that kind of thing. So there was the one we test drove in town, but it was not good. Like, it stalled way too easily, and I know my husband knows how to drive standard. That's his preferred way of driving and what he learned on. So yeah, if it stalls that easily, we definitely don't want the kiddo trying to drive that. So yeah, we didn't go for that. But anyway, he saw this one advertised, and it was at a smaller dealership. The population of the town it was in was less than 5,000 people. So there's fewer takers there, right? As opposed to something that's in a big major city, goes immediately. And they had it for like 3 months and no takers. And it was low mileage too. So we were kind of thinking, like, is there something major wrong with it that we don't know about? But yeah, my husband talked to them. We saw lots of pictures and all the repair and maintenance records and all that, and it looked good. So we decided to go out there, even though it's like almost 7-hour drive each way. And so we drove out one day, we stayed overnight, we went the next morning right when they opened, and test drove it, and yeah, it was good, so we got it. And then I had to drive our vehicle home, and oh, I'm very sore today. I'm not used to driving that long distance, and I don't drive at freeway speeds very often. I'm always just in town, you know, to go to the grocery store or whatever kind of errands that need running. And yeah, so I couldn't help it. I was like gripping the steering wheel harder than necessary because I was nervous and almost bruised my palms. And I kept trying to like consciously relax my hands, and I would, but then a couple minutes later I would catch myself gripping it really hard again. And yeah. And then I said, I have short arms, so I can't rest my elbows on the armrests and hold the steering wheel at the same time because my arms are too short. And I can't drive with one hand at that speed. I can, but I'm really nervous and I don't feel as in control. So I couldn't take breaks with like one hand and rest the other one and then switch. I tried that, but every time I did, I didn't feel stable enough. So yeah, my arms are feeling it. Ugh. But we did it. Yeah, we got it home. It's all good. Yeah. And we drove a little longer way so that we didn't have to drive through this big city center, we took the freeway bypass around it, which was still more traffic than I'm used to driving in, but it was a lot better. So, yeah. There were no close calls. I did well. Yeah, my husband always tells me, like, you're better at it than you think, you know. But I have anxiety, so, yeah. But yeah, it's all good. We got it. So kiddo is still driving my car for a few days while he gets used to the manual. Like, he's been practicing with a different vehicle, and so my husband's taking him out sort of every evening, and they practice in a big parking lot. And he said he almost was ready to drive it home yesterday, but he got too nervous. But like my husband said, like, he's got it. Like, he's got the skill. He can do it. He just has to believe in himself. I said, well, I guess we know where he gets that from, right? But yeah, anyway, he's very happy. So it's got 4x4 capability, and there were a couple of minor little things. The sunroof mechanism is not perfect, but I mean, there's nothing mechanically wrong with it, right? So the engine is good, the body's good. It's just a couple little minor things like that. No big deal at all. So yeah, there's a couple of little parts that my husband wants to replace, but they're like, you know, $100 each. Like, it's very, very minor stuff. It seems like it's a good vehicle, so we're happy with it, yeah. And especially with such low mileage, because yeah, everything else we were looking in our price range was quite high, obviously, because in our price range was at least 10 years old, so yeah. But fortunately this one was not, so. And I said, basically, when you adjusted for inflation, we actually paid less for this one than we paid for my vehicle, which we've never regretted buying, so yeah. And so we told kiddo that, yeah, he gets to drive it now, but it's his early high school graduation present for when he graduates next year. So yeah, he's pretty excited. So we said, yeah, you know, take care of it. This is your first asset, right? Yeah. You know, and we told him, like, if he one day gets a job where they give him a company vehicle to drive, then if he wants to, he could sell it, you know, or he can hang on to it. It's up to him, but yeah. So technically it's still his dad's car and he gets to drive it. And then, yeah, once he graduates high school, we will transfer it and it will be his completely. So yeah, he's very happy. I said, yeah, I feel like I know I'm spoiling him a little bit, but oh well. I kind of want to. No, he's a great kid. I mean, I know I'm biased, but yeah. You know, people complain about raising teenagers, but honestly, he's never given me a moment's worry with a lot of the stuff parents of teenagers worry about. Yeah. So yeah, proud mama. Yeah, I had a picture. We put a picture of him with it on Facebook, and he's barely smiling. And I said, yeah, he's getting to the age where he barely smiles for pictures anymore. But trust me, he was very excited, even though he doesn't look it. Yeah. Yeah, and we told him we were going to look at the car. We didn't tell him we were bringing it home. So yeah, it was kind of a surprise. He was hoping we would, but he didn't know until we pulled into the driveway. So. Okie doke. Okay, 720. Yeah, so it's funny because, like, I was following my husband home, and it was like trying to keep the right space between us so that people wouldn't go between us, but not following him too closely. We made it. It's all good. Yeah, and we went midweek so that, again, it wouldn't be as busy. We wouldn't have been wanting to drive it home on, say, like a Friday or something, right? Because, yeah, everyone heading out for the weekend or whatever, that can make the traffic a lot more gnarly. So, yeah. We went midweek on purpose to avoid all that. Yeah. The only thing we were hoping that it would have, which it didn't, was a backup camera. Yeah, I was kind of thinking for 2015 that it would, but I guess at least for that model, they weren't standard yet. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, has a couple little Easter eggs too. It's funny. If you when you open up the door for the gas, it there's a little embossed spider there that has a little speech balloon saying ciao. Yeah, and there's a little Bigfoot decal on the back right above the rear window wiper. Yeah. So just funny little touches they added to it. Yeah. And then I asked him, like, so is he going to make it an angry Jeep? Because there's these aftermarket grills you can buy so that instead of the headlights being round, they look like somebody's frowning. Yeah. And it has in the middle, it can make the grill look like teeth, like grr. So yeah, he said, no, I don't think I will. So I kind of joked to my husband, I might be tempted to go get some construction paper and just make it look angry. Just tape a couple little pieces to the headlights and make it look angry. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny because I never noticed anyone did that till one time we were driving. Kid was like 10 or 11, and he says, look, Mom, it's an angry Jeep. And I'm like, an angry Jeep? And then I look, it's like, oh, it does look angry. Yeah, it's just silly little style people did. Yeah, because people say I like car faces, because, yeah, there's like a Mazda that looks like a great big goofy happy grin. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I just messed something up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. What have I done here? Okay, hang on a minute. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I had a second one parked there. Oh, silly me. Yep, I can see that now. I even marked it, and I just wasn't paying attention. I didn't mess anything up. Okay, I was thinking that looked like the same color. That's because it is. Oh, yeah. I'm still tired from the drive. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh. Okay. Oops, yeah, I decided to do 2 threads, that's why. And then I forgot that I decided to do that. So, all right. So I'm just looking. There's sort of a natural break point of colors here where I believe it changes into, yeah, not blues, but it does kind of naturally break there, I think, because when I looked at the mock-up, yeah, there's sort of some feathers here and then sort of another feather. It overlaps another feather underneath and then another. So yeah, like I said, it forms kind of a natural break point there. So I think that that's where I'm going to make the break point on my stitching as well. So kind of just below this grid line here, I'll cut it off sort of there and keep striping it across, and then I'll start doing that again lower down. That's what I usually do. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, same kiddo won't smile for pictures. He gets awkward feeling, I guess. We'll see how his grad photos turn out next year. Yeah. Yeah, when I had my grad photos taken, I was like one of the few gals at my school who didn't have my hair professionally done. I didn't have any money for it, so my parents weren't willing to pay for that, so yeah. Yeah, I found my old grad pictures when I was cleaning up and just looked at it going, holy cow, I was such a baby. I graduated at 17 rather than 18 because my mom put me in school a year early. Rather than putting me 5 turning 6, she put me in 4 turning 5, which I don't know if they allow you to do that anymore, but yeah. So yeah, it kind of sucked. I was always a year younger than my classmates. So yeah, because I had people asking, like, graduated at 17, did you skip a grade? Like, nope. I don't know if they do that anymore either. Yeah. I mean, I guess they must. You hear about these prodigies who, like, graduate with a college degree when they're 12 or something, but yeah. Okay. So yeah, like I said, right around this grid line is where I'm going to make my cutoff. It might sort of run down a little bit more because, like I say, I'm not strict with where I make the break points. So, and again, may close in a couple stitches on 3 sides, but that's okay for me. I don't mind. Okay, and this one I believe, yeah, I put in my working tray because as you can see, there's going to be quite a lot of it coming up. Ooh. Oh, goodness. Pardon me. So yeah, I should hit 40% completed, no problem, this month. I manage about 2 to 3% on this project per month. Yeah, I had to relearn how to use cruise control on my car too for that long drive. Well, I never use it because I'm in town, right? There's never a big enough stretch to use the cruise control, so yeah. But yeah, so when we got the new license plates, they said, so who's driving the new vehicle home? I said, well, him, because it's a manual. So yeah, I couldn't drive it home even if I tried. Yeah, there was, we went to go have the, we ran the VIN number, right, just to see if there's any liens on it or anything like that. And yeah, the lady who was at the registry office doing that. She said, yeah, she felt really bad. There was some guy who, he bought a vehicle and he drove it to the registry office and went to get it registered and discovered that the car was considered a write-off, unsalvageable, and so it was scrap, and he couldn't register it as a vehicle to drive. And yeah, it had been sold as is, so he had no legal recourse. Like, oh, sucks to be you. And they said that's why you always go and double check. Yeah, it's like $30, but could save you a lot. Yeah, so you don't get conned, because that would suck. Yeah, so this is a higher detail area. So you can see there's a lot of different colored threads parked here. So let's slow things down a little bit. But slowly but surely we will get there. Yeah, kind of like when I go through my Facebook memories and I can see previous projects as I posted progress pictures, yeah. And get that snapshot of, yeah, like 4 years ago, I was working on that project. Wow, it's been done for a while now and hanging on my wall, yeah. Yeah, I had one where I posted it in the morning. I just had the last corner to do, you know, and posted, hey guys, do you think I can finish today? And everyone, oh my gosh, I'm going to be eagerly, you know, checking all day to see if you finish it. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I get friends who watch the, this was before I had my YouTube channel. So yeah, I would post progress pictures and people would get very invested in watching it come to life. So yeah, I'm going to go a little bit out of order here. Like that. But yeah, sort of said this color is sort of, these colors are sort of where I'm going to make the cutoff. And I will come back and fill all this in later as I start to work the next section. So yeah, I used to sort of work more diagonally that way. Now I'm working more this way and sort of a bit across and then a bit more across and more horizontally. Well, I find following the colors like this also helps avoid getting lines in your work. The dreaded lines that you do not want. Okay, I was just making sure I hadn't split the fabric there. It looked a little funny, but it turns out it was just the angle of the thread. It was tricking my eyes. Okay, and I'm going to tie this one off because, yeah, it's fairly long to carry it all the way over there. So, and this is a bright orange color, so I don't want to risk any showing through. So just draw this along the back. Yeah, it was funny. I posted about, you know, here's his car. He's going to take a little while for him to, he's going to take some practice because it's a manual. So, but that's what he wanted. And yeah, one of my cousins said, oh, Grandma will be really proud. Yeah. that he actually requested manual. Oh, almost felt like I was going to get a bleeding nose there, but thankfully no. Yeah, I was really prone to those when I was a kid. Sucked. My teacher got used to me running out of the classroom to grab tissue from the bathroom to deal with it. Yeah. I don't know why. It was sort of one of those things, like once it bled once, you know, you just sort of rub your nose because it itched and whoops, there it go again. Yeah, my kiddo went through the same thing around a similar age. It happened all the time. Okay, just gonna take a look. That one, yeah, is a longer piece. So I'm gonna tie this one off for now. Just had to make sure, because I've done once where I tied off one thread thinking the other one that was parked there would do all the stitches, and then it turned out the other one that was parked there was only long enough to do like one stitch. It's like, oops, now I have to connect another one again. Ooh. Okay, so again, just not precisely in order, but it's going to grow out. I thought there was a knot there, but it was just, there's like a fuzz or something stuck to it. Oh, it's like threaded onto the piece of thread. Weird. Okay. I don't know, it's like I stitched through a piece of lint or something. Yeah, actually driving all that way, that's the most I filled up my car. Usually I go every 3 weeks before I need to fill up my car, yeah. So I had to fill it up like 3 times in a day. Yeah, it was kind of cool. They gave us a little bonus. They gave us a smartwatch, and kiddo got a jacket too. Which is a good, it's like a good heavy duty, like the canvas kind of worker man jacket. So yeah. Okay, actually, I just realized there's one already parked there. Silly me. Yeah. My brain is not fully awake yet. Ooh. Okay. Might actually fill in a couple more stitches here, yeah. Try not to leave gaps, or at least as few as possible. Yeah, I think I'll be moving my frame over at least one more time this month. Yeah, I don't know how my husband does it. He has to drive quite a lot for work. Man, I find it exhausting. Because, yeah, he'll often drive 7 or 8 hours in a day. Sometimes he'll drive 3-4 hours out to a site, do work, and then come back, drive another 3 or 4 hours home. Yeah. Fortunately, he's a good driver and he likes driving, so. But yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things when he was interviewing for the job. They told him there's going to be a lot of travel involved. Are you good with that? Yeah. Okay, 958. Yeah. Like I said, he went up to Yellowknife. He actually drove all the way, which was, yeah, really long way. But it was sort of, he needed to bring some specialized tools for his work, and the cost of shipping them and then flying up there was prohibitively expensive because they weren't, they were quite heavy. And for the airline to take them, yeah, like with all those extra fees for the weight would have been, yeah, just prohibitively expensive. So yeah, the next time he went, he didn't have to take equipment, so he was able to fly, but yeah. Yeah, and he said some of those roads are, not good. Like I said, when they tell you to go max 50, yeah, they mean it, because if you go any higher than that, you're gonna be taking jumps over dips in the road and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, and he could only drive there during a certain time of year too, before everything's frozen and snowed over. Yeah. That's why he said up there's everything's extremely expensive, because a lot of it has to be flown in. Can't be driven in, so yeah. I don't know why I left that one threaded when it's going to be quite a while before I get to it again. Yeah, I was telling someone that, I leave the needles on the threads. They thought, like, when I took a picture of the whole piece with all the threads hanging, they're like, there's needles on all of those? It's like, oh no, only when I'm using them in an area. Yeah. Yeah, could you imagine? Roll up the piece and there's, dozens of needles? That would be very bad, because, yeah, that's how I store it when I'm not currently working on it. When I take it off the frame, I roll them up. Keep them in a pillowcase so they don't get dusty. Okay. But yeah, it was funny. My cousin was saying she was surprised when I said about how fewer than 20% of people here can drive standard, because she said, yeah, that's how she learned. So she actually had a harder time when she first started driving an automatic, because she didn't know what to do with no clutch. Yeah, my husband said he learned on a manual, and he forgot he was driving an automatic, and he accidentally braked because he was trying to push the clutch, but there's no clutch, so he pushed the brake instead. Like, he said, yeah, there's a good thing there was no one behind me. I would have been rear-ended. It would have been entirely my fault. Because, yeah, we do things without thinking, right? When you've done them hundreds of times. Like they said, your brain kind of has to build those little automatic habits and sort of shortcuts, basically, because if we had to constantly process everything we're doing, yeah, it would take up too much energy, right? If you had to think about how to eat, or how to use a bathroom, right? Like, yeah, it would just be stealing up energy reserves that you need to deal with other cognitive functions. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I remember when we went on our honeymoon, we got married in January, so it was freezing cold, and we went out to Harrison Hot Springs just for a couple nights, because at the time I was in college in an accelerated course, and so you couldn't afford to miss time. And anyway, it was this vehicle, he always pulled the parking brake on it. Well, problem was it was so humid there, and because it was cold, that the moisture would build up on it and freeze, and then yeah, the e-brake didn't want to release. He had to go under and like knock the ice off. And so to prevent that, the next time he tried to remember not to pull the parking brake, and he actually had to put a piece of paper on it to remind himself, because of course otherwise he wouldn't think to not do it. It's part of, you know, you put the car in park, you pull the parking brake, you turn off the ignition, you do it without even thinking, right? Because you've done it, you know, 1,000 times before. And then yeah, so he actually had to put something on the lever so that it would remind him, oh yeah, don't pull that. It's like, yeah, it's always the way. Like I said, I remember one time I wanted to remember that I needed gas on the way home because my car was very low, and I'm chanting to myself as I drive home, must stop for gas on my way home, must stop for gas on my way home, must stop for gas on my way home. I pull into the into my driveway, I look down at the nearly empty gas gauge, it's like, oh, I still forgot. Oh. So then I had to back up and go right to the gas station. I'm sure the neighbors were like, what the heck is she doing? And it's funny because I try that. I remember we used to say, don't forget this. And my dad would say, no, if you say don't forget it, your brain is not good at negative stuff. So you'll still forget it. Instead, tell yourself what you want to do, what you want not to do. So I was telling myself, remember to get gas, not don't forget gas. Still didn't work. Yeah, I still forgot. Yeah, I was chanting, don't remember to get gas, remember to get gas, and drove right by the gas station and still didn't get the gas. Like, well, that's like, I think I remember one time my mom, she changed jobs, but of course, without thinking, got in her car and drove all the way to her old workplace before going, oh, wait, I don't work here anymore. You know, had to call the new workplace, like, sorry, I'm late. I went on autopilot and completely forgot. Yeah. Oh. Oh yeah, when that's been your routine for, 10 years, it's not surprising that you didn't remember that. Yeah, that's enough for that thread. We're going to get a lot of pin stitches in this area, that's for sure. Okay. Looks like I'm going to get to do a few in a row coming up. This upcoming curly Q symbol. So yeah, like I said here, closed on 3 sides but not 4. So I'm only going to do these 2 stitches here and park it and finish the other ones later so that I don't close in that one stitch completely. I don't like doing that. I find it makes it harder to stitch it and keep it looking neat. It's super short, so I won't bother leaving it. threaded. Okay, so I've got two colors kind of crossing each other here. That's all right. So yeah, I'll probably work across horizontally till I get to this sort of purple area here, because that's a different color there. That's where I think more blue starts to come in again. Yes. So I'm gonna work sort of this section here and then go down here and start working out again and again, and then move the frame over probably to start tackling that bit there. Okay. Oops. Come on, let go. There we go. Little knot trying to form on the back there, but we got it. Okay, now we'll do a bunch of these in a row. Yeah, I was saying had to relearn how to use cruise control. Yeah, my husband said when he joined the military, he had to drive from BC to Ontario. So that's across several provinces. And it was an old vehicle from the 80s, so it didn't have cruise control. So yeah, he said it was like a 3-day drive. He said by that end of that third day, yeah, his right leg was so sore. Yeah. Yeah, it was nice too because the route we took home on the freeway, there's a passing lane the entire way. So yeah, people generally don't tailgate you because they can go around you, which is nice. Yeah. I mean, I'm in the slow lane, but I was already doing the limit, right? But yeah, it doesn't matter how fast you go. There's always going to be somebody who thinks you're not going fast enough. Ugh. Yeah, we saw some deer while we were out too. Fortunately, they saw us first and ran off, but yeah. Yeah, they said, you know, you're Canadian with, you know, more than one person who has hit a deer and at least one person who's hit a deer more than once, which, yeah, correct on both counts. I actually know a couple of guys who've hit deer more than once, but yeah. We don't on this vehicle, but when my husband had a super long commute when we were first out here, and it was across a lot of country that did have a lot of deer, we put wildlife whistles on our car. They make, as the wind blows through them, they make a very high-pitched sound that they can hear. And yeah, it warns them off. They don't like it, so they stay away. Yeah, saw quite a few moose crossing signs. Yeah, I actually did see a moose on the road once. Yeah, it was. I think we were driving through Kamloops, and yeah, this bus was right on my bumper. It wanted me to speed up, and I was already going like 5 over, and I sped up a little bit more, and it was still right on my butt. So I just went, okay, well, I'm done now, right? And I went exactly the speed limit. And it was a good thing I didn't speed up anymore, because we came around a corner and boom, moose. Yeah. It was a female, so it wasn't quite as big. But, I mean, you still don't want to hit one, right? They'll right off your vehicle, or at the worst, because they're very tall, they could actually crush the car. It could be fatal. So, yeah. But yeah, fortunately, because I was going slow enough, we saw it and we were able to avoid any collision until it ran on its merry way off the road. Yeah, I remember one time I was driving, I was like, man, I feel kind of tired. And again, through the same area, and that's like, oh, look at this great big rock. It must have moss on it because it's kind of brown and fuzzy looking, and oh, it's moving. Oh my gosh, that's a bear. It's like, okay, I'm definitely awake now. Like, whew, that'll get your heart rate up. I only realized then when, yeah, I could see it start to ripple, and it's like, wait a minute, that's no rock. Yeah. Generally, though, I mean, as soon as they see a car, and that's what happened. It heard us coming, and it was moving to get off the road, because yeah, they don't want to encounter us any more than we want to encounter them. Yeah. Although in some areas, like my aunt and uncle lived for a while, it was right next to basically forest, and they said, yeah, you had to be careful because the bears would come right up onto your porch and steal your garbage can. Yeah. They were not as scared of people as one would hope. So yeah, you had to have bear-proof trash cans, because yeah, they're not going to resist what they hope is a free meal. That's for sure. And yeah, they said the problem is too, like, humans are so encroaching into their territory that they're not as scared of us as they might otherwise be. They're getting desensitized to having us around, right? So yeah. Yeah, there was, though, when my dad was a kid, they were out camping, and a bear came into their campsite looking for food. And my uncle was in the tent, because they had like a camper van and like a tent, and it clawed across the tent and clawed the tent down. Luckily, my uncle was fine. It just knocked the tent over on him. Scary as heck, though, of course, but they kept that tent, and my dad showed it to me when I was a kid, and it's like, like, that bears are big and their paws are huge and their claws are ginormous, but like, when you actually see those claw marks, it's like, oh man, like, that really puts it into perspective how big they are. Like, that's terrifying. Ugh. My dad said, yeah, they had to grab some flaming sticks out of the campfire and chase it off back into the woods. Scary. Ugh. Yeah, so you have to be very careful with how you store your food, because, yeah, they will come looking for it if they can smell it. Yeah, it was like, I saw a meme going around saying, bears are bigger than you think, foxes are smaller than you think, moose are bigger than you think. I said, yeah, Canadian here, who I've seen them, and I can attest they are much, much bigger than you think. The males are like the size of a tank. Yeah. And when we would drive to BC to go visit family back there, we would go through Jasper National Park. Yeah, there's a lot of wildlife there. The maximum is a lot lower than on the freeways, because yeah, obviously, yeah, you can't tell the wildlife where to walk, and they're going to walk right across the highway, so you don't want to be hitting them. Yeah, we had a couple times we had to wait for a while because a herd of mountain goats went across the highway, and we just had to wait for them to move. Yeah, we had one actually. I took a picture of it outside our window that just kind of went trotting right by our car. Like they were completely unconcerned about us. Yeah, it was wild. So close that, you know, you could open the window and reach out and pet it, although obviously do not do that. They are still wild animals. My husband, they lived up in the mountains for a while. And he said that one of his friends got his car written off because a mountain ram ran at it. Yeah, it saw it as a threat and it ran it and broke the freaking radiator and everything, crumpled the front, and yeah, there was so much damage that, yeah, it actually wrote off his car. I said, imagine having to claim that on insurance. Like, what happened to your car? What'd you run into? Oh, a ram, and it ran into me, you know? Yeah, as you say, came around the corner on the mountain road and the ram saw it. It was like, this is my territory. Bang. Yeah, ran right into it. And the animal was fine, right? Yeah. Their hard heads. It kind of shook its head and walked off unscathed. The vehicle, not quite so lucky. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen elk, I've seen bears, I've seen moose. Yeah. Yeah, my husband had a coworker who came from Korea, and it took him a while to get used to that out here because, like, he had grown up in the total metropolis, right? City. He'd never seen wildlife in real life. And then, yeah, like one time, my husband said they were out at the transmitter site and there was horses in the field and the guy was afraid to get out of the car because, yeah, he was intimidated by them. I'm like, well, to be fair, I'm a little intimidated by horses too, and I've seen them a lot more than he has, right? So yeah, my husband learned the hard way, don't park your car where the horses can get near it because they will scratch themselves on it and wreck it. Yeah, we had to get it fixed because they put their hooves on the front hood and they scratched all around it, scratched up the paint because, yeah, he didn't know that. So yeah, we learned that one the hard way. Ugh. But yeah, for me I'm used to it. I grew up in an area that had quite a lot of woodland around it, so we saw a lot of deer and stuff. I actually saw a whole family one time. I was sitting on the back porch and I saw a male kind of come peek its head out and kind of look around the highway and then went back into the woods, and then it came back out and it had its mate and a baby, and they all crossed the highway. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, where my in-laws lived, they had quite a lot there, and yeah, it would annoy my mother-in-law because they would come into her yard and eat the flowers and stuff. Yeah, and she had a fish pond, and she finally couldn't keep fishing it anymore because raccoons always ate them. And they even got like a grate to put on top of it so that it was, they couldn't grab the fish. Those little rascals figured out how to undo the latch. Yeah. And she said she had like a big koi fish and a cleaner fish, and the raccoon managed to unlatch the gate and it grabbed the cleaner fish and sort of chucked it away because it wasn't meaty enough and it didn't want to eat it, and then ate the koi. Yeah, she was so upset. So yeah, because they had one that it ate, and then they went and got the cover for it so that it couldn't eat the next one. And yeah, that little trash bandit, it came along and it ate it too. It's like some kind of joke that they have little robber masks on, right? Yeah. Oh, my husband said when he was in the military, some raccoons, somebody had parked the vehicle, the army Jeep, on the base, and they didn't bother locking it because, like, it's on the army base, right? Who's going to steal it? He didn't think about the fact that there's wildlife. And yeah, the raccoons were able to open the door because they could just, like, if they hung off the handle, yeah, they could get enough weight to open the door, and they completely trashed it. They ate up they tore up and chewed on the leather seats, and they ripped off the rear view mirror, and yeah, of course, pooped everywhere, and yeah, Buddy was in trouble for not securing the vehicle. Yeah, they had to work around a lot of wildlife because they had a outbuilding that some Canada goose had decided to build its nest in. And yeah, those things are vicious, right? Like, they may not have teeth, but they'll still bite you, and they can put a lot of pressure with their beak, right? So yeah, he said they were trying to park the Jeep inside, and the goose sort of stood there with its wings open and hissing at them, and they weren't allowed to disturb the nest, right? So yeah, basically they couldn't use that outbuilding until the babies had hatched and they had all moved on. And then after that, they had to, yeah, figure out how they got in and patch up the hole or whatever so that they wouldn't have that trouble with any more geese. But yeah, it's funny because there was a video someone had, and it showed like soldiers were marching by, and then a Canada goose came and tried to attack them, and they sort of broke formation, and somebody said, oh, the brave soldiers. But I said, I don't blame them though. Those beasts are mean. Yeah, somebody had a joke that Canadians are so nice because all our meanness goes into the Canada geese. The wild thing is, it's not our national bird. Yeah. Apparently our national bird is the whiskey jack, which is like, why wouldn't it be the Canada goose? Like, it's right in the name, There was a comedian I watched, he said, yeah, whiskey jack, why did we pick that? Said, did someone goes like, is there a beer duck? Oh, whiskey jack. Close enough, Okay. because I've been thinking out loud, or ahead, I would have parked this a little differently, but that's all good. So 3 sides, it's okay, just not 4. Kind of juggle my colors back and forth a little bit. I swear, getting my needle oriented the right way is like trying to plug in a USB. Always seem to get it the wrong way first. And sometimes it's like you put it in first way wrong, you turn it the other way, it's still wrong, and you turn it the other way, and it's like, oh, it was right the first time. Why couldn't I get it to work the first time? Saying my kiddo doesn't get a backup camera, but he gets a heated steering wheel, so I'm kind of jealous about that because, yeah, it gets, you know, minus 40. Those steering wheels get very, very cold. I have to drive with mittens on. Yeah, I forgot once, and it's like you could feel the cold just seeping down to your bones. Ugh. Okay. Still within the inch, so just park it rather than end it. Do a little bit more, and then I think we'll take a break there. I know there's darker colors down here, so I will pin stitch this since it'll get covered up, so I'm not worried about it. Okay. Kind of smooth out this gap here, and then think that will be where I take a break. And that'll be at 175, so that's kind of a round number, round-ish number to stop on. So that's what I will do. Yeah, there we go. So thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.